Okay, folks, so when you first open CorelDRAW, you'll see something like this. You want a new worksheet, you're going to click this little button right up here in the upper left. And definitely name this. So I'm going to put this demo because this is just a demo, but you should always name it after your project. Actually, probably put your name in it too, since you'll be sending this off to get cut or to get made. So put your name in it and whatever the name of the file is. So if you're making a dragon and then just put, Swanson, period 2 or something like that. So put your name. So, if your name is Joseph, put Joseph and then put period 2. And that makes it really easy to find, you when you're done. Next thing, if this is the laser cutter, you're going to make sure it's 32 by 18. That's super important. This is the total amount of workspace you have. So this lesson is only about laser cutters right now, and you're going to make sure that it's RGB, not this right here, RGB. So name it RGB and 32 by 18. And that's all that you have to really change for laser cutters. This is the total area you have to laser cut. You're never going to do anything for the whole thing. That would be huge. In fact, most of my wood is not even that big. Most of my wood's about this big. In fact, how big is this rectangle I just made? Here it is right now. It's 31.77. So most of my wood is about 31.77. So about 32 by about 16. It's actually just a tad bit smaller than that. Oops, Control Z. And it's a little bit smaller than that. So this is why is that 33? This should have been, oh, I know why I didn't have this done. 32, there you go. So this is the total size of the wood that I usually have. So if you're cutting on wood, this is about all I have to work with. But that's one big old sheet of wood, Normally you would just, get a little circle or whatever you need. So that brings us to a couple of things. Circles. You can see that they can be weird shaped like ovals. If you need a perfect circle, make sure that these two are the same. So you're going to say like a 3-inch circle would be 3, 3. And I'd like to talk about some of this stuff now that we have a shape. So this right here is the position of the object. Now, that's because I have an object selected. If I click the arrow and I just click on the background somewhere, it says the total size of your workspace, which we already set. So if you need to fix it, you can fix it right here. Now let's click on an object. This is the position of the object, and this is the size of the object. So if I change this, it's just going to change the position, the X. So about 16 is about in the middle, right? Since this is 32, 16 is in the middle. And if I want to be right in the middle the other way, we'd put 9 because it starts this way too, by the way. This is 0 and this is 16. So if I put 16, you'll see that it's right here. And then, oops, sorry, 18. If I put 18, that's the total width of the entire machine. Notice that it puts the middle right here because that black dot. If I want this black dot right here to be on the 16, then I would click this and I would say 18. And that puts that right on the edge. See that black dot right here? And that's that black dot there. So most of the time that we do center the objects, sometimes the rectangle you're cared about where the left side is, but most objects you want to know where the center is. And this is describing the center. So there we go. And this is the size. Now, if you have a size of an object set and you need to change this, notice that when I change this, it grows, right? And I could do this to 6, correct? That's because this is unlocked. If this is locked, when I change one, the other one changes in ratio. So if I change this to 3, the other one changes to a 3. So and this works the other way, so let me undo this. Let's say this is 12 and this is 3. Let's click lock. Now, if I select it, 12, and I put this to 6, this one should turn to 1.5. So let's try that. 6, enter. There we go. You see how it's kept the same ratio, 6 to 1.5. So sometimes you do want that. You want it to stay the same ratio, and sometimes this is annoying, so you uncheck it and you just fix it how you want. All right, so Now we know about the position of the object, X and Y. We know the size, the left and right and up and down of the size. You know about locking the ratio. You can also change stuff by percentage if you wanted to. And then we have some other stuff right here. Rotation, that doesn't really matter because it's a square. But if it was a rectangle, you can rotate this 90 degrees. And you can see we can rotate it to just about anything that we need. And this just changes the angle of the object. This inverts the object. You guys see that? It's inverting it. And this inverts it up and down, but it's hard to tell because it's the same either way. Now let's put this back to 0. I'm just covering today all this stuff right here. I'm not going to cover anything in these today. Um, so this is the rectangle. And if I want to round the edges, we would just click rounding right here, which it already is. And we could just push up, or you could type in the exact amount of rounding you want. I have a 1/4 inch radius, and now we have a nice round edge. And the one thing that you do need to know to laser cut is over here in the settings, but we're not going to cover that just yet. We're just going to learn how to draw shapes. So um, here's what I want you guys to do. This is today's assignment. Is I want you to take a rectangle and I want you to make sure that it is 8 inches by 2 inches. Okay? And I want you to make sure that it's at the 5 in the X direction, and I want you in the Y direction, I want it to be 16. Okay? So this should be set to this rectangle. It also should have a rounded edge of a 1/4 inch. For some reason mine's not, so I'm going to put 0.25, and there we go. That should be 1/4 inch rounding. So it should have 1/4 inch rounding, an 8 inch by 2 inch, and it should be at a position of 5/16. I want a circle, and you can get rectangles here and circles here. I want the circle to be 6 by 6. I want it to be at a position of 15 in the X direction, and I want it to be at 14 in the Y direction. And that's all you have to do for the circle. Now, let's cover another shape, and that is a polygon. So we're going to drag the polygon and let go. And if you want to change the sides of the polygon, we can do this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a triangle and make sure that it is 3 inches by 2 inches. So it should be 3 by 2. And it should be at a spot of 4 and 12. So once again, you're going to go over here. Nope. Right here and click polygon. You're going to click it, change it to a 3-sided polygon, and then make sure it's at a position of 4 and 12 and a size of 3 and 2. And that'll give you that there. The next one is a star. And if you want a nice star, you just do that. And notice mine's a little flat. For example, let me exaggerate. You can make it look like that, but we don't want that. We're going to make sure it's nice and even. We're going to do a 4 inch by 4 inch star so it looks nice and even. All right. And then it's going to be at a position of 9 on the X direction and a position of 12 on the Y direction. Okay, so those are those shapes here. Next is a spiral, so we're going to click that. And if you want a spiral, you just drag. And of course, these can be smushed as well. You guys can see that. But we will not do that right now. And this one, I don't know if you notice, you can only choose a few things like, oops. So you can choose oops, hold on, there we go. You can choose, you have to stretch it yourself. You can't choose the size right here. You can change how thick the lines are, of course, but we will leave them at 1 point, so make sure they're at 1 point. And this right here is spiral revolutions. So I think we can set it to 30, and then, oops, oh, that's for new ones. So that's for new ones. You see how it tries to do 30? It can't do it because it's too small. But technically it would be doing 30 revolutions. It's kind of hard to tell because it gets too big right here. That's for new ones. It doesn't change it on the fly. So this one, do any spiral. Just make sure the position is at 24 and at 14. Okay, and make sure it's at a point line of 1. Okay. Oh, and here's actually the size right here. Here's where you can change it. I thought you could. So we'll just do 6 and 6. There we go. So here's 6 and 6, 6 by 6, and 24 by 4, 24 X direction, 14-inch Y direction, and a 1-point turn. So what else do we have here? We have common shapes, but we can pretty much make those with lines. So now let's do the lines, and then we'll be done today. We're going to go to right here, and we're going to go to 2-point line. And I want you to notice that when I drag a line and I do this, it can go anywhere, right? So, but if you hold shift, now so hold shift with your keyboard and move it, notice it locks. Let me show you the difference. No shift, see that? And now shift. So if I need it perfectly straight like this, hold shift and lock it in. I want another one, hold shift, lock it in. And I want 2 lines, click one and make sure that it is 5 inches long. Click this one and make sure that it is 3 inches long. Make sure that this one that we made 5 inches long, make sure that it's at a position of 5, and make sure that this one is on the X direction of 5. So they're both X and Y, they're both even right in the middle. They're both at position of 5 in the X direction. Make sure that this one is at 8, and make sure that this one is at 7. So they're 1 inch apart. This one's at 8. This one's at 7. So we know this is 1 inch apart. And I want you to take the line tool again, click on it, and click on the node. Make sure you see how it says node. Here it says edge, right? We want node. That means you're at the end. And you can see the nodes are that little box right there. And just click the node there. Do that again over here. Node. And then there's a node here. So let's connect node to node. And that's it. So that's that shape. And it is exactly where we want it to be. And lastly, this one you can freehand however you want. You can just make a really cool shape. What I want you to do is B-spline tool. And this one is when you're tracing something by hand, and you're going to click, 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 click. And the more clicks you do, the more easy it is to bend. And then click the last node. See that last node right here where we started? Double click it, or you just click it once, I think is actually all is fine. And if you click the arrow, I think you should be able to, there we go. I clicked on it twice. You can always make adjustments if you ever need to. So you can pull these around, make a little rubber ducky here if I want. So this is starting to look like a little rubber ducky, isn't it? Anyway, make whatever shape you want right here. And that doesn't matter as long as it fits somewhere in this space. And that's all you're going to submit is your screenshot of this. Oh, no, one last thing, sorry. I forgot you need to put your name on it. So click text and click here and choose any font you want. I'm going to choose Adelia because I like that font. It's a pretty font. It's a cursive font. And then choose whatever size you want as well. And then click somewhere. Just one time. Do not drag. Okay, just click. And then when you type your name. And you could always adjust the size if you want later. Just put it in the middle somewhere if you can in this space. If there's no room, just move your B-spline drawing off to the side and just make sure your name's here. And then take your screenshot by clicking on snipping tool and then click on new right here. And then then you could just screenshot this and then save it and submit that, okay? So that's all you need to do for this tutorial. That will teach you a little bit about the stuff up here and a little bit about these tools on the left side.